Hey guys, I'm John Robinson, the Rookie Senior. In this video, we're going to talk about logistics as I plan my move to the Philippines. Let's get into it. All right, we'll have this little checklist running on the left-hand side here. So the first thing is liquidation. What am I not bringing? Well, as you may know, I sold everything. I sold my race car. I sold my telescope. I sold my guitar and keyboard. I sold all of my furniture of my entire house. I sold my record collection. You know, I'm 60 years old. I have a lot of stuff. And I'm really got it down to one suitcase. And that was not easy. And it's taken me almost a year to get rid of all that stuff. Last thing left is the house, and obviously I'm not bringing that. So that's what I'm leaving behind. In fact, the last thing I'm going to sell on my way out is my truck. I've got a Ford F-150. I'm going to use that to drive myself all the way from Texas up to Utah and maybe over to California along the way, and a couple stops as I go. But anyway, here's my route, and this is where I'm headed. Anyway, my last stop, I plan to sell the truck when I'm over there. So that's the liquidation. Let's talk about essentials. What am I bringing? Well, I've got a 5-day supply of clothes, your basics, you know, shirts and slacks and shorts and shoes that I have in a travel bag that is, 7 kilograms or less. And I'm bringing obviously the shampoo and the razor and all the stuff that basically I can just live out of a hotel. Now, truth be told, I did say in a previous video, I'm getting down to one suitcase. The reality is it's 3. What I really mean by one suitcase is I have one suitcase that I'm going to use to travel and go around to the different islands, but I have 2 other larger suitcases that I'm going to carry some things like pillows, because I have a goose down pillow and I love my goose down pillow, man. Can't do without that, because the pillows in the Philippines, in my viewpoint, are just too hard. So I got to bring those pillows with me. I have these towels that I bought at Costco. They're massive beach towels, and I don't think I can find those in the Philippines. So I'm bringing those beach towels with me. And of course, all this gear that you see around me, my laptops, and actually I have a second laptop over here. You can see that one. I have a couple of cell phones, and I have a microphone, a couple of stands, a couple of cameras. All that stuff is going in to the second and third suitcases. And then for my girl, my Filipino who lives in the province, there's just so much stuff that you just can't sell, and some of it you just have to throw out. I'm trying to save some of that stuff, and like some older blankets, some older jackets, and some things like that would be really helpful to her family. I'm going to bring that over there too and give it to her. I hope it doesn't cost me extra to bring this on the plane, but we'll find out. So ultimately, it's one suitcase that I'm going to use to travel between the islands. But overall, it's 3 suitcases, 2 big ones and a small one. It's going to carry everything that I own. I will say this, there is a small set of stuff that I'm leaving with my mother. Some photos and, some records, some old cassettes that I just didn't want to part with, that will stay at my mother's house. And I can always come back for those if I need to. But I'm not planning on bringing any of that stuff over. It has been a monumental effort to get down to really one suitcase. All right, that's the essentials checked off. Let's talk about the virtual address. Okay, so I did a little bit of research on Gemini. What I found out was that, for tax purposes, you really ought to have a virtual address. And so what I did was I hired this company, and you can see here on the screen here, this is the company that I'm using. And essentially in Wichita Falls, Texas, they set up a virtual address for me. And basically I've had my driver's license updated to that address. I've had the post office updated to that address. And starting this month, all of my mail will be forwarded to that address. And what they do, if it's junk mail, they throw it away. But if it's not junk mail, they are authorized to open it and scan it and email the scan to me so that I can look at it. They can even receive packages for me and queue and hold those packages, and I can ask them at some point to ship them over. So that's how you do it. It's a virtual address. Here's the company that you can use if you wanted to do something like that. In my state of Texas, that's what I'm using. Now, the reason for the virtual address is this, that, from the tax purposes, the bank can see it as a legitimate address. The IRS sees it as a legitimate address. Fortunately for Texas, there is no state income tax, so the state doesn't even care. But the federal side of things probably does, and I'm imagining for the IRS, so I don't run into any trouble, they're going to use that address which is a physical address, to represent where I live. So that's what I'm doing there for the virtual address and getting all my mail forwarded over to me. Let's check that one off the list. The next one is phone setup. So at the advice of Gemini, I am using two things here, or I should say three. I'm taking my U.S. phone number, and my phone provider is Mint Mobile. And it's because it's cheap. I think I pay like $15 a month for unlimited minutes or something like that. And that $15 a month works here in the United States. But anytime I go overseas, I have to buy what they call a Minternational pass. I will keep that for a first couple of months. But what I'm really doing is I'm taking that phone number and I'm porting it over to Gemini Voice. Now, I haven't done this yet, but according to Gemini AI, you forward that over, it's a $20 setup fee, and your phone number stays with you, and then it becomes a virtual phone number. Anytime you have Wi-Fi, you have access to that phone number. Now, you may say, okay, well, what if you don't have access to Wi-Fi in the Philippines? How am I going to get my U.S. phone number to work? Well, what I plan to do over there is get an eSIM with either Smart or Global, one of those two, and set up that eSIM so that I have cellular access in country. And with the cellular access and the Google Voice, I will have the ability to receive phone calls internationally. Now, this is all in theory. I haven't tested this out. I don't know if it's going to work, guys, but this is the advice that Gemini's given me, and this is what I'm going with. So that's what I plan to do initially. And maybe stay tuned for a future video. I'll let you know if that's working out. If you guys have some better suggestions of how you might do a phone over there or what you guys are using, let me know. I'd like to hear in the comments below. All right, so legal documents. First of all, why do you need a legal document? I'm talking about birth certificates. I'm talking about, in my case, a divorce decree and things like that. Why do I need that stuff? Well, I think I'm going to need it when I set up my bank, when I get the ACR or ARC card or whatever that's called, and also apply for the SRRV visa when I'm over there. I'm going to need these legal documents, I think, to set those things up. And also, to be honest with you, I've got my eye on a girl in the Philippines. We might get married. And she's getting her CINOMAR, it's called, which is proof that she's not married. And what I have to produce is a birth certificate and a divorce decree to prove that I am who I am and that I'm divorced. And so anyway, I'm bringing those documents, originals, mind you, not copies, originals of those things, and I'm bringing them with me, so that I can use them for those purposes. Let's check that one off the list. Legal documents. Okay, what about money? How am I going to access money over there in the Philippines? Well, I've been over to the Philippines 4 times and I really haven't had any trouble. So there's several ways to do this. I'll bring a little bit of cash with me. I also have not had any trouble with the ATMs over there. Maybe there's a small fee for those, but I don't access my cash very often. So cash is one way, ATM is another. Third, I do plan to set up a bank, but that will take some time, and the ACR and the bank and all that, I have to worry about that later. But the other thing I do is I use virtual payment apps over there. So the one that I use pretty much consistently for all of the, in the mall or when I'm paying for stuff, I use an app called Moretta. Moretta can take Gcash and it can take Maya QR codes. And with my Moretta app, which is linked to my bank through Wise, use Wise to transfer money from the bank to the Moretta app, I'm able to use that Moretta app to scan and pay with a QR code, which is kind of cool. I can also use that Moretta app to pay other people. Speaking of paying other people, sometimes I do use Remitly. Like I've given a little bit of money to my girlfriend. I use something called Remitly. Remitly is amazing. Now, I know it's a bait and switch eventually, but so far I've been able to transfer with Remitly, up to like $500 at a time with no fees, 0 fees, and basically instantaneously transferring it. Now, when it comes time to building a house over there, which I plan to do, by that time I hope to have a bank set up, and I will be using wire transfers to move money between the US and the Philippines. And I've got some more research to do to understand the tax implications of doing any of that, if there are any. Maybe you have some suggestions too, how you move big sums of money, like $200,000 or $300,000 over. How do you do that? Maybe you have some suggestions for me. But anyway, my long-term plan is after I get the ACR card and after I get the bank is to use some wire transfers to send some money over. I'm also bringing a checkbook with me just in case I need that has access to my US banks in case I want to use these checks, post-dated checks when I, rent an apartment. Who knows, maybe and hopefully I'll have a bank set up in the Philippines and I won't need the US bank to do that. Anyway, that's what I'm doing for money over there. And if you have any better suggestions, put those in the comments. I'd like to hear from it. So what about agency assistance? I'm talking about help on the ground, somebody that can come in and help you, search for a rental, make sure that you don't get ripped off, help you with your ACR card, help you with your bank setup, help you with your SRRV. There are a number of agencies out there. One of them is the Savvy Expat. I've talked to him. His prices are around $3,800 to help you. And that seems a little steep to me. So I decided against using Savvy Expat. Nothing against him. I did some research and talked to some expats that have used him and they speak highly of him. I just prefer not to spend that amount of money. But I think it's probably a legitimate use for some of you who don't want to worry about the hassle of doing it yourself. Savvy Expat may be a resource for you. As for me, I'm going to try to do this myself. I think I can do it with the help of Gemini AI, with the help of my local girlfriend and a couple of friends expats that I've developed over there, friendships. So that's the plan anyway. I'm going to try to do this on my own. I'll let you know how that goes. So I'm not pursuing at this time any agency assistance on the ground in country. And I hope that's not a mistake. We'll find out. All right. Where am I going? Where am I going to land? To be honest with you, I'm still thinking about this and I really don't know. The previous 4 times that I've been over there, I spent a lot of time in Cebu, a lot of time in Manila, a lot of time on a lot of the beaches like Palawan and Boracay and places like that over there on the north side of Cebu as well, in Toledo area and Tuburan. I'm probably going to start in Cebu just to hang out and spend some time with my girl and her family. And then I think I'm going to spend some time over in Panglao. I want to spend some time in Panglao. That's what it is. Maybe a month. And what I want to do there is just soak in what's happened, right? Because for me, it's been a year since this whole divorce thing has started. It's been almost a year since the house has been on the market and we finally sold it. I just want to take this time to just have some alone time on a beach. And I just want to think, just want to pray, and just want to imagine and consider what I want to do in my next chapter, right? I want to do this without my girlfriend. Now, I know she doesn't like that. She wants to spend that time with me on the beach, but I need some alone time. So I plan to spend the first couple weeks, maybe a month in Panglao and Bohol to just sort of process what's going on. But after that, I will either end up in Cebu, and I'll probably do a 6-month rental in a condo, or BGC. That's the other one I'm looking at. I really like those 2 areas, especially BGC, because I've been there and, it's very walkable. The city streets are walkable. There's restaurants everywhere. You can avoid the traffic if you just stay in the city in BGC and just walk and get the groceries you need or the food that you need in restaurants. That's one place. The other one is Cebu, only because I've been there several times. I really like the IT Park Ayala Mall. My girlfriend is sort of on the same island as on the Visayas island of Cebu. So being near her, I think would also be helpful. So either one of those two places after Panglao is where I'm headed. Well, that's it, guys. I think the next video will be from the road, and I'll start my long journey toward the Philippines. Again, I'll flash it on the screen. This is the route I'm taking. Probably going to stop either in Utah or in Nevada or maybe California, sell my truck in one of those places, and then jump on a plane, and then I'm headed to Panglao. All right, we'll see you in the next one. We'll see you on the road. Thanks for tuning in, and please like and subscribe. If you have anything you'd like to add, please write those in the comments. I will get back to you. Thanks. See you later.